Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Relearning Relationships. It's me, Christian. Now, the topic for today is mummy issues. This is a red flag that often goes undetected by most, but it is one that you must be educated on. One could almost call it the mother of all red flags, no pun intended. Similar to how daddy issues is very serious, on the other hand, mummy issues are equally as dangerous because children require both a masculine father and a feminine mother that are loving, kind, and giving, and equally fulfill their role in raising the child properly. When a mother does not do a good job at connecting with her children, this can lead to serious problems in their emotional development. So, let's talk about mummy issues. So, how do we define mummy issues? What are they? Now, mummy issues can be looked at with the same lens as daddy issues. Now, I want to make you aware of this red flag so you can hone your discernment skills and be aware of what to look out for in case you come across a woman with such problems. So, mothers are the foundation of attachment. I mean, when we're babies, we cling to our mothers and we rely on them for trust, intimacy, and love. Generally speaking, babies and infants have more time to bond with their mothers than their fathers. It's the very first human being we connect with. This makes them the primary caregiver in the early stages of our development. Now, sadly, most children are raised in broken homes, resulting in even more damage. The majority of children brought up in single-parent households belong to single mothers, especially in the West. Now, single motherhood can be brought about for many different reasons. On the one hand, things could be out of control. Perhaps the husband passes away, or maybe he cheats and abandons his family for another woman. On the other hand, she could be a self-made single mother, as I like to call it. This means that she got knocked up due to promiscuous lifestyle, chasing after the wrong type of man, having children out of wedlock due to immaturity and irresponsibility. In some cases, and it does happen where a woman has a good man in her life, but she's to blame. She betrays him, or she pushes him away with toxic or abusive behavior, which leads and results in divorce or separation. On the other hand, we have some mothers that are narcissistic. They succumb to substance abuse. We have others who suffer from mood disorders, or worse, serious mental conditions that affect their ability to tend to their children's needs. Now, it is important to know that children need parents that meet every single one of their needs. I'm not just talking about food, water, shelter, the basics. I'm talking about the emotional needs, the esteem building needs. That's what lays the foundation. And we're not talking about fathers today, we're talking about mothers. So this requires that parents are emotionally unavailable, show unconditional love, give praise, and pretty much are always there, readily available to tend to their children. Now, the role of the mother is to care and nurture. This is essential to a child's emotional growth. This is why it is so important to ask a woman, fellas, about her relationship with her mother, as well as her father, okay? Similarly to how I mention all the time in daddy issues, you want to pay attention to her response. You ask her, tell me about your mother. What is she like? Do you love her? What's your connection with her? Pay attention to her reply. If she tells you she hates her or harbors resentment towards her mother, then that's a telling sign of mummy issues. It goes without saying, it gets even more serious if she denies to talk about her mother at all or states that it's none of your business. You should take that as proof that she has deep pain and wounds that she has not healed from. If she holds resentment towards her mother, it means that their connection is strained, right? The mother most likely had her own set of problems from her own childhood or from making terrible life choices that hindered her from being present, fully available, vulnerable to her daughter. Now, when you observe a healthy bond between a mother and a daughter, you're going to see an open line of communication between them. There is acceptance, love, and a mutual respect. However, that bond can be damaged or severed, resulting in mummy issues. Now I'm going to cover 5 signs that a woman has mummy issues. Number 1, she does not trust other women. This is because she didn't have a healthy female role model in her upbringing. In other words, her mother didn't meet her emotional needs. Whether the mum was toxic, abusive, absent, neglectful, uncaring, cold, bitter, it doesn't matter. The end result is the mother was supposed to serve as the very first example of femininity to her daughter. She was supposed to be the first healthy relationship she has with another woman, to teach her how to trust in the feminine, and more importantly, how to be feminine. Therefore, what happened? She learned from her childhood that her mother was untrustworthy. And because her mother was so bad to her, she associates femininity with her bad childhood, with her bad mother. Therefore, she projects this onto all women around her, resulting in her saying things like, "I don't trust in other women." Now, sadly, this becomes ingrained into her character, where she believes that all other women are identical to her mother, so she tends to stay away from female friendships, right, as a form of protection. Now, this isn't to say that she won't have some female friends. Guys, as we know, women that are emotionally damaged, what do? They settle for men. Because they deep down, they yearn for a relationship. Even though broken women can't trust in men, they will still try and get into a relationship to meet their lust or their sexual desires, or try in some type of dysfunctional manner underneath it all, right? Similarly to how, when it comes to relationships, an emotionally damaged woman that doesn't trust in women, she may try and have a few friendships with women because she doesn't want to be lonely, because she may try. But what you will notice by observing, if you are dating a girl, watch what happens. Because what you will notice is those friendships never seem to last for a long time, let alone quality women. They're going to be peppered with drama. It's going to be very superficial, maybe one-sided friendships, and there's going to be a genuine lack in care between her and her girlfriends. So you want to pay attention to that. Guys, do not be mistaken. A clear indicator of mummy issues is when a girl does not trust other women. Number 2, this one is going to shock a lot of you. She is a tomboy. Yes, you just heard that correctly. If you are attracted to a tomboy, you may want to evaluate your testosterone, because it's definitely lacking. Many young guys will overlook a tomboyish girl as quirky, cute, cool, fun. But few know that being a tomboy, guys, it's caused by mummy issues. When a girl fails to connect with her mum, this causes damage to her identity. Almost similar to how feminists outright reject any semblance of femininity. In this case, a tomboy, it's not that she rejects it, she shuts it down. She shuts down her womanhood. She turns it off. Because anytime she thinks of being feminine, again, she associates that with the pain that her mother caused her. So what does she do? She develops a masculine mask and puts on a masculine show as a coping mechanism. So tomboys, and this is interesting, they typically have male friends. They typically form friendships with men, which, as we know, there's no such thing as true friendship between men and women. So they typically enter friendships, whatever you want to call it, with men, because they don't know how to interact healthily with women, which is what I was saying in number 1. So on the surface, she may appear to be manly, one of the boys, and, likes the same things as you, or masculine interests, but it doesn't change the fact that deep inside, there's an element of denial and shame. Ultimately, she's afraid to be soft, to be tender, to be open and feminine. Because underneath it all, she believes that if she were to be vulnerable, it would make her appear weak. When in reality, the very fact that she's putting on a macho act and behaving like a dude is the telling sign that she in fact is weak. And she's huffing and puffing and making herself look big and strong instead of relaxing and into being a woman, because she doesn't know how. She hasn't learned that. Guys, don't deceive yourself. A woman who denies her femininity cannot truly love nor respect you, because she's yet to love herself. Now, the third sign of a woman having mummy issues is she's identical to her mother. And I'm not talking about a good mother. If you see that her mother is abusive, is dysfunctional, is toxic, and she's the same, there you go. Like mother, like daughter. What do I mean by this? I'm sure you've heard of the common saying, like father, like son. Right? We use that to signify how boys, generally speaking, grow up to be almost identical in terms of character to their fathers. But we rarely speak of how this applies to daughters, because like mother, like daughter is also a true statement. But why are these things so truthful? Let me explain. Because children emulate what they witness growing up from their infantile years and carry into adulthood. Every single lesson they pick up from their family, whether they're healthy or dysfunctional, it doesn't matter. Most people who grow up with mummy and daddy issues never take the time to address their unmet needs, to heal and to develop a new mindset grounded in understanding and truth. And this is why the vast majority of men and women today in the modern world end up just like their screwed up parents, because they don't have the awareness. They don't understand why they are the way they are until they eventually, look up a video like mine or reach the therapist or something of that nature. Girls with severe mummy issues end up entrenched in their brokenness. Do you understand that? Do you know what that means? They become extensions of their mothers. So if her mother was, emotionally cold, a terrible communicator, hostile, you may notice that in moments where she disagrees with you, she treats you the same way. If the mother used to verbally slander her daughter, you may come to find that when she's upset or doesn't know how to communicate, she does the same thing to you in moments of anger, because she doesn't know any better. If she witnessed her mother cheat on her father, or worse, let's say she sees different men coming and going from her mother's life, then this can certainly taint her view of faithfulness, resulting in her believing that, cheating is acceptable if her needs aren't met and that men are replaceable. And this is why people that have mummy issues or daddy issues, as I mentioned previously, and they don't heal from it, the ones that become bitter and hateful towards their parents typically play out the same behavior. They end up becoming just like their parents, which is why I'm telling you, like mother, like daughter. This is sign number 3 of mummy issues. If the mother's dysfunctional and screwed up, and you start to notice the same things she told you about how her mother used to mistreat her, and she does the same things to you, that's a warning sign that those mummy issues are really coming out and that she has not healed from them, because she has no other input She has no other set of standards and values on how to treat you, how to interact, how to communicate. She's learning everything she saw from her mother. That's all she has to work with. Therefore, that's what she says and does. That's who she becomes. So as you can see, women with mummy issues run the risk of turning into the dysfunctional mother. Of course, there's the exception where a girl recognizes her wounded femininity and through therapy and counsel, picking up a Bible, whatever happens to be, learns to forgive her mother, move on from her childhood trauma and rebuild her values, perception of relationships, and brings up her confidence. Very important to be aware of that, guys. Number 4, the fourth sign of mummy issues is she resents men. You knew this was coming. I mean, come on, guys. What else do you expect? So one surefire way to spot a girl with mummy issues is that she resents men. A lot of these girls, unfortunately, become feminists, as we know. Now, this will happen when a girl observes her mother in terms of how she treats the father. So, emotionally screwed up women don't just make terrible mothers, guys. They make terrible girlfriends and terrible wives. Now, perhaps her dad was emotionally castrated by a mother. Maybe he no longer had the balls or the courage to step up and lead the family. So he becomes feminine and the mother becomes masculine and she starts leading. It could be that he was a deadbeat or walked out on them. Regardless of what happened between her parents, one thing remains clear. Women with mummy issues resent men because they witness from first-hand experience how their own mothers either resent the father or the other men that the mother has in her life. So she will typically grow up hearing her mother badmouth her father, say nasty things about him, do nasty things to him, teach her that all men are the same, horrible things like that. And again, it gets ingrained in her mindset, in her outlook on relationships, and that forms her perception of men. But how can you really tell that she resents men? Well, observe how she treats you, guys. Does she resent you? Look, this can play out in different ways. How does she communicate to you? When she's upset or her needs aren't met, you may notice that she might say or do things to punish you, to get your attention, right? She might react in ways that seem almost childish or deceptive. She might hang up the phone. She might cancel plans to be spiteful. She may threaten the relationship if she doesn't get her way. She may try and guilt trip you or overstep your boundaries. More often than not, you will find that she almost finds like some type of sick pleasure in emasculating you. Take that as your sign to abandon ship. It's just not worth it. And finally, the fifth sign that a woman has mummy issues is that she is not family oriented. What do I mean by this? Guys, it is true that feminism has a huge role to play in destroying traditional family values and brainwashing women to believe that wifehood and motherhood is a terrible thing, it's oppressive, that somehow serving her husband and children is beneath her, but working a 9-to-5 in a corporate job, slaving away for a boss, is somehow uplifting and empowering her. That has a huge role to play. But it is crucial for you to know that mummy issues also plays a massive role in destroying a woman's femininity and her innate desire to be a mother, to be with a man. So, girls that grow up resenting, hating, or harboring resentment towards their mothers associate the idea of being a mother with their own messed up childhood, because it's flooded with memories of unmet needs, crying, not feeling safe, not feeling loved, not feeling understood, being verbally slandered, maybe being abandoned, feeling uncertain, feeling all this pain. Why does my mother not treat me well? What have I done wrong to her? What's going on? So what happens is, when a girl grows up in this environment, as she ages, she starts to look at family as something horrible. She feels almost trapped at the thought of being in a committed relationship to a man and starting a family. She may feel that she would make a terrible mother because she doesn't know how to be a mother. She hasn't taken the time to prepare for motherhood. She hasn't taken the time to prepare for wifehood. She thinks not only are men untrustworthy, but she feels like deep down herself, because again, it all comes back to you, doesn't it? Herself. She doesn't trust in herself to be a woman, to be ladylike, to be feminine. She feels that because she's got her own wounds, that she may or may not be too aware of where they're coming from or how they're affecting her. All she knows is deep down inside something's broken that's preventing her from being feminine. So she feels like if she were to have children, she wouldn't do a good job. Or worse, she fears that her children would grow up in the same environment that she did. And she's very, very scared of that, which is very understandable. But again, fear and all of these things are coming from the mummy issues. So since all she knows is from motherhood is from the way her mother treated her, guys, she's going to be fearful at the thought of marriage or starting a family with you, because she lacks the necessary preparation for wifehood and motherhood. So you pair this with mummy issues and you have a girl that is not ready for a relationship. On the other hand, a good mother, a traditionally minded mother, does her duty in teaching her daughter about homemaking, cooking, child rearing, cleaning, tending to infants, family planning, nurturing, how to treat a man with respect and honor. In other words, a good mother shows her daughter by example what it means to be a wife and mother, and therefore serving as the blueprint of a virtuous woman. And sadly, if a girl hasn't had that, she's going to have to spend a lot of time to heal and relearn and reapply those very much needed values into her life. But if she doesn't have that, you will notice. You could be dating a girl and the topic comes up, you mention what you'd like in the future, and she turns around and says, I don't want a family, I don't want kids, I don't want to be a mother. That's a problem, guys. That's a woman that has wounded femininity. Right there and then, you get all the evidence you need. Because women that are open, women that are feminine, they have an innate desire. I mean, only women can create life and produce children. That's a wonderful gift from God. That's what makes them so special and different to us. Which is why women can provide a love and a care for children that fathers can't. The same way fathers can apply discipline, order, structure, and authority that a mother can't, because we're different. Okay? So you're dating a girl and you want a family, you want kids, you want to have a legacy, and she turns around and says, I don't want kids, I don't want a family. You want to ask more about her mother. It's going to usually be something there. Something inside related to how her mother treated her is scaring her away from the thought of having children, from the thought of being a mother, from the thought of being a wife. She associates those things with pain because it's what happened to her in her childhood. So guys, there you have it. Those are 5 signs of mummy issues. So if you are a man watching and you're dating a girl, be wary of this red flag, because this can go from DEFCON 5 to DEFCON 1 real quick. And ladies, if you're looking to heal, to learn more about yourself, perhaps you had a absent or narcissistic mother that didn't do a good job and you feel like you have some wounds, maybe this has helped to educate you. Let me know in the comment section. For all the new people watching, feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. And for anybody who wishes to reach out to me, whether to ask me any questions privately or share their story, a situation, or request a video topic, the email is down in the description. Feel free to share my content with friends and family, and to anybody else you know who may benefit from my work. Guys, hope you all have a lovely day, and I'll see you all in the next one.